So, Yuumi is out. Kinda. She's on the PBE right now, and I've known about her for a pretty decent amount of time. I never got to go to Riot like some of the other creators and try her before she was scheduled for reveal. But I still knew what she looked like and kinda knew what her whole general dealio was. And I was actually really excited. I like playing supports, especially enchanters, because I like playing them mega aggressive. And the last support, you could even really consider building an Ardent on before Jin was like, maybe Rakan if you wanted, I guess, in 2017, or maybe Ivern, but that's not really a support. But if we're talking like full balls to the walls enchanters, we gotta go all the way back to like 2012 with Nami. So yeah, hype was up. It's a goddamn cat, and that's really cool. If they release chromas with actual cat colors so I could literally play my boy Charlie, then you might as well take my goddamn money. So, I was eager to play her, and with all these videos being released about her, boy, oh boy, Yuumi is actually so busted. Riot released a monster. 80 carry Yuumi is insanely OP. 1000 AP Yuumi is Akatali broken. Man, she must be hella strong, and that's great. But if I could describe her in a single sound after playing her, it would probably just be... So welcome to a video that's basically Yuumi. So it should pretty much go without saying at this point that this is an opinion piece. I'm fairly certain some people will look at her kit and numbers and just be like, whoa, she's pretty strong. But I've played a handful of games as her. I've gotten a feel as to what her playstyle is, what I assume meant to be what she's played like. And I've read a lot of forum posts on her, so I think I'm educated enough to give my opinion. However, at the end of the day, that opinion might be wrong, so I don't know. However, watch the full video, because I think that there are some genuine concerns here that we should all be aware of that maybe you didn't think about. And also, there's a crazy twist at the end that I won't spoil. But yeah, all I can really say about her overall gameplay is that it's pretty funny that she writes a book, because you definitely could read one while playing this champion. Or you could just do what I did and play RuneScape while riding on the back of your AD carry. Oh, you need a heal, dude? I got you, baby, don't worry. There you go, there's some heals. Anyway, back to RuneScape. Yuumi is definitely going to cause a couple of problems across the board just by nature of her abilities. It's going to be hard to predict just how good or bad her solo queue win rate is going to be, but I'm thinking not particularly great. So we've got some abilities to talk about, and I have got a lot to say, so let's just start with the most important one. Yuumi's W attaches you to an enemy champion. This is the one that everybody knows. It's pretty basic. You're untargetable during this except for enemy towers, and you can hop between allies, dropping heals and stuff on them. Your abilities change depending on whether or not you're attached to them. It also grants like some adaptive damage depending on who you're attached to and how much AP you have. But it's unless you max it first, you're not really going to see a major like spike in damage. It's really not all that impressive, to be honest. And basically what this means is that bot lane is essentially going to be a 2v1, because you're entirely reliant on your ADC's movement to not get caught. This kind of sucks early on purely because you're kind of demolishing your lane pressure. You're basically never ever going to get priority early on in a Yuumi lane. If you're against an aggressive bot lane like Thresh or Nautilus or Alistar, it doesn't really matter if you try and spam heals. The likelihood is you're always going to lose trades no matter what. And that's pretty much to be expected with enchanters early game if your ADC gets caught out. But more so with Yuumi, she has like really nothing to help disengage her ADC apart from her heal. Her W encourages what can only be described as gameplay that makes you want to fall asleep. Now, I'm fully aware of what you're supposed to do on Yuumi. Now, you hop off your AD carry, you hit an enemy like once or twice maybe to get the shield of your passive to proc, and then you hop back onto your AD carry to deliver them a nice little shield that they can use to avoid getting poked down early game. The issue with all of this is that Yuumi, early game, providing the enemy actually even attempts to attack you in any way, can basically just straight up break the shield and then maybe a little bit extra or even more so every single time. Like, Yuumi is squishy, and when I say that, I mean like literally the squishiest character in League of Legends. She has 25 base MR and armor at level 1, and her MR scales terribly to only 28 or 30 odds at level 18, whilst she literally has 400 HP at level 1. Meanwhile, in the early levels, her shield starts at 50 and scales to 330. Which is alright, it's pretty decent at level 18, I suppose, provided you literally don't get one shot the second you hop off one of your team in a team fight to hop back on them with the shield. But if you're pre-6, your shield is going to maybe shield around 100 damage. I cannot think of a single support or AD carry that cannot break an 100 damage shield, or at the very least just damage Yuumi before she even slowly auto attacks to get that shield in the first place. Apart from maybe like Rakan, who might not be able to W in time to knock her up. Like early game, doing this hopping, laning stuff for the average player, not really an option, for me at least. Maybe it's because I was playing on PvE ping or something, but like hopping off to try and auto attack a Sona or something in between her, like going for CS or yada yada yada, only to get like queued for the entire shield I just got, then to maybe get auto attacked by the AD carry, and maybe power carded again to chunk my actual HP. It was just awful. So like early game, I had to just concede to sitting on top of my AD carry and just making sure they didn't die. I know I'm supposed to be like punishing auto attacks off the AD carry here, but it just doesn't seem worth it. I mean, as far as positioning goes as well, you're entirely at the mercy of your teammates too, which is unfortunate. Her Q is a goddamn nightmare. Its damage scales with travel time, so you kind of want to hit it as late after you cast it as possible. Usually it's like 1 second before it becomes empowered. The issue with this is that it's just a straight line skill shot when you're detached, but when you are attached, it controls like a forklift truck in snow, so it's really hard to curve it, and there's no splash damage, so clearing minions or even just trying to hit onto champions and minions at the same time, so you can maybe like, you know, best of a bad situation, hit a minion, have it splash onto a champion who's hiding right behind it, is impossible. But the range is the worst. Trying to hit a Q whilst your AD carry is even thinking about moving backwards, only to have the Q dissipate just before it hits whoever's chasing you into the shadow realm. It's horrendous. I mean, sure, you can level Q early on and get some extra range, but the damage is pretty awful anyway, so like it felt like there was realistically no major point in pumping points into it over your heal until a little bit into the game. The slow is nice, I'll appreciate that, and the cooldown wars really nicely, so to the point where you can basically have it on 100% uptime with 45% cooldown. But the damage is still low as hell, and it controls like a Scion ulti for some reason. So I can not imagine a bigger hell than trying to maintain this at 100% uptime. Just spending an entire team fight just trying to hit Qs. Jesus. I mean, it's just so tedious and annoying. And I mean, to give you the best chance of actually hitting it, you probably want to fire it from somebody who's like right on top of somebody. So you want to be like on a tank or somebody that's like on the back line if you really want to hit this all the time. But the damage is completely screwed if you do that. It's like half the damage for your trouble of actually trying to hit it reliably. So moving on to her E, and it's probably one of the nicer things of her kit. I actually haven't got too much to criticize here. It scales with missing health, which makes up for the terrible AP ratio and the low base ceiling. But also, it hilariously grants like 10% per 100 AP movement speed on use, which makes me consider that I can maybe just hop onto a Predator Hecarim, ditch bot lane altogether, and just roll with him. Imagine full AP Yuumi with a billion AP buffing an already fast as hell Hecarim. It'd be like Sonic the Hedgehog movie if it didn't look utterly terrible. I might make that video if this gets some likes. Maybe, who knows. But now, finally, Yuumi's ultimate. The ability looks really cool, but deceptively does basically none of the damage and none of the CC that it looks like it does. Now you fire a bunch of waves in a straight line. If you get hit by 3 of these out of 7, you're rooted for 1.75 seconds. This number does not go up as it levels, only the damage goes up, which is awful. I have no doubt in my head that this is still a great teamfight ulti, but it is so wholly reliant on another champion to basically lock down the whole enemy team, or have basically relies on the entire enemy team not being mobile in any capacity or not having flash up. This is so frustrating to use that it physically hurts me. Trying to ultimate onto an Ahri is painful to watch. Now, predicting movement is a cool thing in League. Everybody tries to do it with varying success, but trying to predict where your team will move when you're sitting on top of them firing this down a lane into potentially absolutely nobody depending on what your team does is a completely different story altogether. Now, unless you hop off of whoever you're on to make sure that you're guaranteed to hit your waves, which will root the enemy team, you're basically at the mercy of your team to stand in the right spots so you can fire it in the predetermined direction that you've chosen. And there's also no aiming or redirecting this spell, by the way. If you fire it in one direction and your jungler decides to flash somewhere else, well, you're kind of on your own with that one, and it would be fine, since you can just hop off and do it yourself. Except the enemy are rooted; they're not stunned. So you better sincerely hope that every single enemy you're trying to hit with this route are not facing the same direction as you, and are also not in range to murder the hell out of you. Comparatively, Sona's Q can auto-target champions, which has a better AP ratio, it does more damage faster, is impossible to dodge, and hits multiple enemies. She can slow it with her E as much as Yuumi's Q up to around level 3. It's much more reliable than trying to play Ridge Racer around minions to apply a slow to an enemy. She also heals more base health on a much lower cooldown than Yuumi does, unless the person you are actually healing is literally 10%, in which Yuumi does a little bit more. She speeds up way more champions, way more reliably, without having to go full AP glass cannon like Yuumi would have to do. Her utility in general of being able to heal multiple people and speed up an entire team at the same time without having to micromanage hops between her team to boost the right people at the right time with Ardent, basically outclasses Yuumi on every single front. And Sona's ulti does not only do way more damage with a higher AP ratio than Yuumi's, but actually hard CCs the enemy from only a quarter of a second less with a very similar hitbox, commanding way more pressure in lane, having way more teamfight potential, and being a champion that is actually able to trade or abuse melee supports in lane. I really wanted this to be like a super jokey video and just a big comedy video memeing on Yuumi, but like, as I started writing this 2,000 word script, I just realized how truly underwhelming this champion was. Like, realistically, aside from the fact that you can go AFK on the back of your AD carry and be untargetable, there is quite literally no reason for you to play Yuumi over Sona. Sona does absolutely everything that Yuumi does besides attaching herself and becoming untargetable, except far, far better on way shorter cooldowns and far easier to hit. If I had any genuine suggestions on what you could do with Yuumi, probably be something in this. Make your Q have a slight splash. There is no universe in which it's okay for Zoe's Q to have splash damage, but Yuumi would be too powerful with it. Get rid of the damn range on Q when you're attached. It should just be travel time, and it dissipates at the end of the cast, and your range is determined by how long that, so your travel time goes up with levels, not range. There is counterplay to this ability, and it's called minions. Curving a tiny projectile that operates like a Sona ultimate around minions is basically impossible, and that's fine. You should be allowed to punish people that are standing out of minions though, with this ability, without being deadlocked behind your own AD carry's terrible positioning, or him moving 6 inches backwards towards tower. Like, your range changes based on your ADC's movement, right? Which means that you could have fired your Q, and then your AD carry flashes backwards, and your Q just disappears. Like, it's not static based on where you cast it. It's based on where you currently are. So you could get screwed over by trying to fire a Q from Ezreal, and he just decides to E in a completely different direction, and you're just like, ah, good. Vel'Kolus's Q does pretty much the exact same thing that I feel like Yuumi's Q wants to do by punishing people standing behind or farther away from minions, except Vel'Kolus's Q does way more damage and is far easier to hit. And also, make your damn ultimate controllable, or at the very least give it minimum 1 redirect per ultimate, so that if you move positions, or if the enemy moves positions, you're not completely screwed, like a Lucian is when he fires a culling in the wrong direction. But the thing is, Lucian has strong enough of a kit that him missing a culling isn't that big a deal. Yuumi does not have that luxury. Her ultimate is far too important for her to like completely whiff it, or for the enemy to completely move around and her not to be able to redirect it, because it's not even that high impact. Also, make it do damage. I don't mean make it do more damage. I mean it currently does no damage. there was times when I was playing Yuumi that I didn't even notice that I was doing damage during my ultimate. This 40% reduction of damage makes like 0 sense. Like, why punish the player for hitting every single wave of their ultimate? This is supposed to be a big goddamn team fight ultimate. Like, when you pop it, it is something that should realistically make people want to flash away or use escapes. It doesn't even come with the luxury of having actual play potential like Sona, where Sona could flash ulti 3 or 4 people. You cannot flash ulti on Yuumi because it takes 3 waves to root someone. It only roots them, and at that point, all you've done is piss them off to the point that they want to murder the idiot that just flashed into their team with only 27 base MR at level 11. If you have to cut the number of waves down, if you want to cut the waves down from 7 to 5, but remove the 40%, that's fine. Just make the damn thing do some damage, because at its current form, you could be like level like 11 and do like 200 damage with an ultimate because of this reduction. This champion is so underwhelmingly terrible. It's just crap Sona. It baffles me. I'm really disappointed. Now, this is the end of the video. I might do more of these. If I do more of these, they're going to be so much more memey, by the way. This one was very serious for no real reason, but like, I was going to meme her up, and then after playing her for like hours and hours and hours, I was like, wow, this is not good. Oh. But yeah, drop your opinions down below. If you think Yuumi is actually broken and super strong, like you've watched some of these clickbait videos and you actually agree with it, you think that like, you know, master tier challenger players stomping iron players in PBE is like a good indication for how strong a champion should be, then by all means, like, let me know. Flame me in the comment section. I ain't buying it, personally. And I mean, this is just like, this is your average player's opinion. Like, I'm not challenger, I'm not fucking even diamond, really. I consider myself like an average person, so this is like the average person's opinion. The pro players might think it's really strong and has a lot of potential, but like, that's not gonna happen in solo queue, realistically, is it? Like, the champion requires a lot of coordination, and that's very possible in pro play. She probably could be really strong in pro play with the right coordination. I can't question mark ping my fucking Ezreal for stopping my Q 9 times in a row and him to understand what I'm talking about. Like, it's not gonna stop him from doing it, you know what I mean? It's just not feasible. But yeah, if you're new, subscribe. If you did like this video, if you want to see a Hecarim video with like the Yuumi on the back and going super fast, by all means, drop a like on the video as well. Johnny Sockjar, subscribe, blah blah blah. Yeah, if you want to see more of these types of videos as well, by all means, this is kind of like a why I hate, except a little bit more serious because it's a new champion. It's kind of a big deal. But yeah, have a good one. Take care. Love you guys. Bye. Woo.